How's it going, guys? Ben here. One take thoughts. First of all, I apologize for the lighting. I'm in the car, or I'm in my car, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm technically at work, but I figured I'd take a couple minutes, take a little break, and just talk about a subject or a topic that I just feel a little bit passionate about and a little aggravated about. This is a one take video, so this is no editing. It's gonna be just from the heart. Hopefully, this is the only take too. It's technically called one take, so I should try to watch out on how many takes I actually do a video in. But anyways, guys, so I was just scrolling through Facebook Reels, and I know I shouldn't. I was going to the bathroom and I was like, I want to scroll through some Reels. Uh, Maybe I don't need to tell you guys that much information, but I just kept looking at these videos of these people, real human beings, just completely, basically disregarding their life, and making all these excuses for why they can't do such and such different tasks, like work or think cognitively or have a relationship or have friends, these debilitating thoughts that they had of themselves. And these people are different people who have categorized themselves as either ADHD or autistic or um, whatever it may be, ADD, OCD, any type of label, depressed, anxious. They put those labels on themselves, and in doing so, I really truly believe that they cripple themselves and they set themselves up for failure in life. Why is that? Well, okay, I'm not a professional, but I do have eyes, and I see people who put on these labels such as I'm depressed. Well, if you tell yourself that you're a depressed person, then you're going to look through your life as a person who's depressed, and you're going to think in a different way than a normal person who might have depression every once in a while, who might be sad every once in a while, but they don't think they're depressed. You can be a lot more optimistic when you look at depression more as, okay, this is something that comes on and it comes off and it comes on and comes off. But if you believe you have a chronic illness that makes you sad and unhappy, then who's to say where that goes? Now, I'm not to say that there's not people who suffer from a harsher type of depression. We all suffer from different types of different things. But to set yourself up and to say, okay, well, my life is this or that because the doctor said it is, or because there's a medical procedure that they did on me and then they conducted or deduced that I am this. I am ADHD. I had so many friends in high school. All of my friends, practically, had been taking pills and drugs because they were apparently ADHD. And when I hung out with them, or they might have been on the autistic spectrum too, is what they said. The autistic spectrum is so freaking wide, it's ridiculous. And then everybody already knows what autistic means. When you think of the word autistic, you think of somebody who mentally has I don't know how to nicely say it. They have mental roadblocks. They can't think as cognitively clearly as a normal person could. I'm sorry, but that's just where people's minds go. And so when you tell somebody who maybe has a little quirk about them, social quirk possibly, that they are this thing, they're going to look at their life and they're going to have reasonings for why something didn't happen. Well, I didn't have friends in high school because I was autistic. Maybe you didn't have friends in high school because you were a jerk, you know? But when you put a label on yourself, then you have something to say, oh, it's because of this. And then you can take the blame off of yourself, or you debilitate yourself and you make yourself the victim. And who knows what's telling of that, Who knows where that could be taken? It's the same with a lot of these different labels. Let me tell you guys, the pharmaceutical companies are not your friends, okay? Yeah, I'm an anti-vaxxer, okay? I'm an anti-vaxxer of the COVID-19 shot. I am totally opposed to it on every level. They pushed that vaccine out so quickly, and then they made you take 8 booster shots because the vaccine itself wasn't effective. Where am I going with this? Well, what I'm saying is that the same medical communities and companies that came out with something like COVID come out with different drugs like Prozac, Xanax, all these different types of drugs to try to alleviate your anxiety and depression. I had friends taking them all. I had friends taking antidepressants. And I looked at their life, and they were some of the most depressed people I knew. I had people taking anxiety pills. They were the most anxious people I knew. People taking ADHD pills. They were the worst. They got the worst grades in school. These pills didn't solve their issues. And they say, oh, well, the pills aren't a solution. They're just, they're helping alleviate a lot of the symptoms of these issues. How do you know that? Listen, I'm going to give you guys an example on a personal level, because we look through our world, or we look through the world by our own worldview. My dad is an introvert. You could say he's an introvert. There's another title. And my mom is an extrovert. Well, I feel like I've always been introverted, very introverted, with little bits and pieces of extrovertedness here and there. But to the level of my introvertedness, my shyness, I'd be terrified to sometimes speak to people. I don't like to take phone calls. I don't like to text a lot of times. A lot of times I like to just be alone, and I get my energy from being alone. Now you could say, oh, that person's an introvert. Well, my job that I do every day is to sell people things. It's to sell them my services. I have a company that I work for, and I sell them those services. I sell the people I meet every day. I meet hundreds of people, thousands of people. I do presentations. I have to go up and present my product. I do all these different things that require a lot of social activity. And can I say I love it? No, I can't say I love it. It's very draining. It's draining mentally, but I do it. And I'm good at it too. By the grace of God, I'm a good salesman, okay? Let's just say I get a lot of sales. Now, you see that, but you see what people might label me as an introvert. But does that make me not successful? Like, you could take that label. Somebody could take that label and say, well, I'm an introvert, so I can't be a salesperson. That's not true. You can be anything that you want to be within reason. I mean, obviously, I'm 5'10". I can't be a basketball player. There's physical limits. But that's kind of I could be a good basketball player on a high school level probably, and maybe even contribute in a collegiate level. Probably not an NBA level. Where am I going with this? Well, what I'm saying is that there are some physical limits to what we can do. There are people who do have mental deficiencies to the point where they cannot cognitively hold a job, maybe, or maybe they can't hold a family, or maybe they can't provide for people. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I'm saying that most people, it seems to me, take their issues. We're all born with issues. They take their issues and they blow them out of proportion, and they limit themselves in this life. And I think that's the most disappointing thing. But not only disappointing, that's the saddest thing. I feel bad for people who do that. I saw one guy break down in tears because he thought that he didn't have friends because he was autistic. And this guy was like mentally, he was clear. I would have never guessed any type of diagnosis had been put on him. But he thought he was autistic, and he thought that he had no friends because he was autistic, and he was just bawling his eyes out. And it was really touching and sad to see that, and it's the same thing with people who, and a lot of them, they just want to blame it on something. And I get it. It's easy to blame stuff. It's easy to say, well, I'm an introvert, so I don't need to do my job of a salesperson. Well, I'm a such and such, so I don't need to do this. Or I have ADHD, so I can just be excused for not studying and putting my mind to do something. It's bullcrap. It's bullcrap, okay? You don't do what you want to do because you don't want to do it, and because you don't have the discipline, the motivation to do that thing. That's for the most part, most people. I would imagine most people are like that. How many millions of kids take ADHD pills? But the reality is they're in a school that is just constantly pushing out this agenda that they have. And a lot of what you learn in school is useless. I'm sorry. Here I am, 21, with a job, and I'm saying school's useless. A lot of it's just really, I haven't used the quadratic formula yet. Now, I'm not saying drop out. You got to have the diploma. So grind through it, do it, pass. But I don't think teachers and parents should blame kids and be like, oh, well, my son has ADHD because he doesn't want to spend 10 hours a day studying something that he'll never use in life. That's kind of a rant, guys, a long-winded rant, but I had to get it off my chest. I don't feel that it's right what the world is doing right now. We live in a very, very odd time, an evil time in my opinion, and there are a lot of companies and people out there who would have you take a drug. They want to sell you a drug. Don't get it twisted, y'all. Don't get it twisted. The pharmaceutical companies make billions, if not trillions, as a group off of you having a debilitating issue. Robert Kennedy Jr. once said, there's not a greater moneymaker than a sick child. They want you sick. They want you impotent. They want you emotionally incontinent. They want you to think that you can't do great things. But you can do great things. If you put your mind to it, I believe that people can do great things. And everyone has a gift. Everyone has a skill. Everyone has something that makes them unique and special. You know, and some people have physical attributes. Some people have mental prowess. Some people have great abilities at counting money, accounting. There's a whole world out there, and you are good at something. I believe every person is good at something. And you sell yourself short when you tell yourself that you have a disease or a mental illness that keeps you from doing these things. Never believe that. Don't believe these medical communities and these companies that try to make money off of you being sick and tired and weak. It's a bunch of phooey, man. It's ridiculous. And it just aggravates the crap out of me. I mean, seriously, it is evil. People make money off of trying to get you to fear and to be sad and to be depressed. Because that's what, I'm going to be spiritual here. Satan does the same thing. Satan wins when you are sad and fearful and terrified and you think that there's no hope. But have hope. Have hope. There's no reason you shouldn't have hope. Don't think that these things that they say to you are true. Because for the most part, they probably are far more exaggerated than they really are. Yeah, maybe you got an issue. Maybe you do have some special quirks about you. But here's a newsflash, y'all. We all got quirks, okay? We all have problems. We're all twisted up in a whole lot of different ways. That's life. And some are worse than others. But for the most part, for the majority of people, they are normal, functioning human beings that really need to realize that they have a great gift of just life. Life is a great gift. So, anyways, guys, long-winded. I don't know if anyone will watch this, but I had to say it. I had to let you guys know what I was thinking. It's just, I can't sit back and watch people get told these lies. I'm tired of these lies. And they are lies. Listen, I'm assuming you're a rational person, okay, watching this video. Rationally, you can figure out a lot of times what the problems are in your life. If you're anxious, if you're depressed, look into your life and think, I wonder what's making me anxious and depressed. Maybe it's because I'm watching 6 hours of reels when I wake up, and then I go to a job I hate for 4 hours that makes me no money, and I have no ambition in life, and I have a girlfriend who I have sex with all the time, and I have no plans on marrying her, but I'm just going to have a relationship that is a fornicating relationship, and I'm going to have an abortion. It's like all these things you could look at and say, maybe one of these things is making me depressed, if not a lot of them. Maybe it's, personally, on a personal level, junk food. I was eating a lot of junk food. I felt tired. I felt like crap. I was also doing nicotine too, and I was tired and I felt like crap. And I was like, okay, you know what? You know what? Maybe it's the nicotine. Maybe it's the junk food. Maybe if I cut these things out and have a salad instead, maybe I will feel better. And guess what, guys? I feel better. Okay? I feel great. I feel so much better than I did the whole time doing nicotine. Because I'm off of nicotine now. And I was like, okay, I'm anxious because maybe I'm doing nicotine. I was battling with some other personal issues. And I've gained a victory over those things. And I feel far better. I feel far happier. Another example, is something that people don't like to talk about, but pornography. I was very unhappy and depressed and sad, very low in my life. And I believe one of the big issues was pornography. And I was watching pornography. I had no interest in ever finding a spouse or, any type of relationship because I was content with pornography. And I came to the conclusion when I believe God really saved my soul, that pornography is something that is wicked and disgusting and only brings unhappiness. And I did my best to root it out, and I've had failures along the way, but, you can look rationally at your life, and stuff like depression and anxiety can be a great indicator, just like pain, that something is wrong, something needs to be fixed. Now, there are people who just get depressed because they just get depressed, but that's a very slim majority or a minority. Don't get it twisted. It is not a huge majority of people who are just chronically depressed. And that's another thing too. And I'm not again on a tangent, but I was watching a Facebook reel, and there was a reel that said, "Oh, autistic people like to use phrases multiple times in a conversation." Now, I've said, I'll use this as an example, don't get it twisted. Now, what they would deduce is that I'm autistic. I know how damaging it can be to put a label on yourself. And if you get anything from this video, know that there is hope, and that your doctor is not the wise genius who knows all things. He doesn't know all things. Doctors are great in a lot of things, but they don't know all. And they very well likely could get you wrong. And if not wrong, they very well could likely, and I'm saying very likely, exaggerate whatever condition you have. Now, I'm not saying that if you get cancer, be like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm just not going to go to the treatment." I'm not saying that. Now, people, I'm sure, would say, "Oh, well, he's an extremist and he's making these claims." It's not extreme. Using your rational mind, and don't just look for a drug solution. Don't just go and, when you hear that you have a condition or a problem like ADHD, don't just go to a drug. Try to set boundaries for your life. Maybe don't drink coffee. Maybe don't have a bunch of sugar. Maybe do such and such and such and such, and keep doing it for a long period of time. And hey, listen here, guys. If you spend 40, 50 years trying to be better and you fail, well, I'm still not saying don't go to drugs. I mean, say that you're 60 and you've had to work on your chronic, your disability of not concentrating, and you've had victories and you've had failures and you've had victories and you've had failures. Well, newsflash, you're a human being. You're not an 88. You're not someone who's just riddled with problems and you can't succeed in life. You have problems and you're fixing them and you're working to fix them, and you don't need to go to drugs. Find hope. I think it's one of the worst things that we have in humanity right now is a huge supply of drugs for people to take. It's very sad to see it. And I full-heartedly believe that. And you can call me whatever you want. But just remember, I don't care. I really, really don't care. If you think that I'm an anti-vaxxer, I don't care. If you think that I'm an anti-pharmaceutical man, whatever you would call that, I am. Okay? Newsflash, I am. I am anti-doctors. I'm anti-medical communities. I'm anti-companies like Pfizer. Now, does that mean I'm not going to go to the doctor if I get cancer? I am going to go to the doctor if I get cancer. If I have a problem that's affecting my life and I have to go to the doctor or I will die, I'm going to go to the doctor. But if things not pertaining to life or death situations, I'm going to work on it myself. And I want to hold that commitment to myself until I die. I never want to go to a doctor for anything like, "Oh, well, you have high blood pressure, and in maybe 30 years, if you don't work on your diet, you might die." Well, okay, maybe I'll work on my diet and not go and try to take these high blood pressure medications that have all these lists of symptoms. But they make a lot of money, guys, okay? And they own a lot of media, and they own a lot of TV, and they own a lot of commercials. They have a lot of airtime. We are the minority. Those who think like I do are the minority. Well, I don't even want to say that because I don't want to take away hope that there is maybe a large majority of people that do think the way I do think. And I believe that there are a lot. Look at the Trump supporters, okay? Most of them hold this view that I'm holding. And there was like 90 million people that voted for Trump. So maybe it's not that small of a majority or minority, but just, they own a lot of media, they own a lot of airtime, they own a lot of TV, and so they are going to tell you, just a normal person, that I am crazy. They may even say, oh, this person's schizophrenic because he's anti-medical, he's anti-meds, he's anti-pharmaceutical, he's a crazy person, he lives in a box probably. No, I don't live in a box, but hey, think what you want. You can enjoy pumping yourself full of 10, 15, 20 pills a day. I just don't want to go down that road. I'm not taking the red pill. I'm not taking the blue pill. I'm saying, take these pills away from me. I'm living my life, okay? So anyways, guys, with that being said, if you've made it to the end of the video, congratulations. I've looked at my statistics, and they are like, I have like a 5% statistical viewing average. People, once they get to about 1 minute, they drop off. So if you've gotten here, you win nothing, but I appreciate it, and I thank you for listening to my rant. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you all on the flippity flop.